today I have the privilege of being in a conversation with Dr. Tim Hatem. He was one of the suitors on the courtship, and I gotta say, man, I was shocked last week when you were let go. Tell me a little bit about your experience on there.
Um, what to tell you about the experience? I suppose it was quite the experience. Very surreal. Um, there's a lot of factors to it. It was very unfamiliar environment in terms of being around a lot of guys competing for one girl, and made it very difficult for me to sort of channel my romantic side, if you will.
Mhm.
Um, But other than that, it was a lovely experience. I got to meet a lot of people, make some friends for life, learn a bit more about myself and the people around me from it, and how different things will affect my romantic mind, if you will. Um, so yeah, no, it was a good experience.
Well, definitely props to you for trying that because I don't think I can do that. If I'm
Yeah.
if I'm trying to court somebody, we have a good moment, a good connection. I think it'd be very difficult for me to turn around and see them going on another date with somebody or doing
Mm.
something like that. How do you manage your
Yeah.
emotions in those situations?
See, I would agree. I think what really happened is because I was a late arrival. When I'd come in, when I came in, I wasn't emotionally invested yet. So I came
Hmm.
in with quite an open mind. Um, but as time went on, and I sort of got to see her affection with the other guys as well, I think it would either do one of two things to a normal person. So if you're already emotionally invested, I think like some of the other boys, it sort of triggered an anger or jealousy. Um, but as I was a late arrival, I think the only thing it really did for me was this interest. So it sort of closed off the option of me becoming vulnerable in any way, or um, sort of becoming romantically inclined towards her. Because I think that's a normal reaction that you would
Hmm.
normally have. Say I was back home, or say I'm in a party, or in a normal situation, and if you do see a girl or any of the girls that would be making out with someone, you don't automatically think, oh no, they're off. They're off the market, if you
Hmm.
will, and you wouldn't even attempt to speak to them about a romantic going there, because you'd already seen them being romantic with someone else. And I think it sort of did that for me on the courtship. I especially seeing how annoyed some of the other guys were when she was getting quite affectionate with the suitors. And obviously, it's difficult for Nicole because she's in a situation where she's there to do this, I suppose, to
Hmm.
explore all her options and figure out who she needs to be with. But then, from my perspective, that's really not something I want to see with someone I want to become romantic with. So it just pushed me further away from being or feeling romantic, if you will.
I completely agree with you. It's interesting because you would think that you guys being a late arrival, you and Mr. Judge, it might give you an advantage because of the fact that maybe the other guys weren't very good. So seeing two fresh
Hmm.
faces, new perspectives might be a good
Hmm.
thing. But kind of like you said, she's probably already emotionally invested, and the guys are definitely emotionally invested with
Emotionally
her
invested, yeah.
specifically. So it makes them like uber aggressive, and yeah, I can see how
Yeah.
that can just like, you know what, it's not that not that big of a deal right now.
Yeah.
Especially with like honestly like I'm terrible with names, but one of the guys is just like
Hmm.
super annoying. Buchikio,
Muchiki.
just
Like, he's not that bad, I think, but sure.
yeah. So actually, let's talk a little bit about that. So off camera, how are
Mhm.
the guys? How were you guys? Just hanging out and being together.
Um, I think we're where all the boys were staying was a cottage right by the castle.
Hmm.
And the boys are good. I'd say good crack, but you probably won't understand what that means. That's Irish slang for just they're good banter.
Okay.
Um, they are. We got on. I think within the house, most of us would. after filming and stuff, you'd go back and we would all get on really well. Obviously, there's some exceptions. You know, some people would have a bit of tension between each other, as you can see from
Hmm.
the episodes. But in general, most of the boys were fine with each other. And we would, I think, what people fail to see in the audience is, especially for me personally, we see Nicole or Miss Remy for a very short period in the day, here and there and far in between. And then when you do see her, it's in a very unnaturally induced environment where you're all sort of competing for this time. Meanwhile, there's cameras zooming about, and but when you're with the boys, it's a bit more. You're just with the boys, and you're just
Mm.
chatting about, everything, and you're with them for 24/7. So you're with them all day, every day. So you tend to develop a good relationship or friendship with them. Now, in saying that, there are some boys who didn't really develop a good friendship, because of things that were happening, as you can see. For me personally, I think I didn't have any issues with any of them. Everyone was fine. I think when I first came in, some people were being a bit snarky, or like, I don't know. I think it comes from insecurity, or they were a bit worried about what was, who we are and what we're
Hmm.
doing. But as time went on and the more you got to know them, it was fine. Really, there was no drama there, no stress.
That sounds pretty cool. On another cool subject for you, what was it like to be part of that kind of social experiment and being able to be in, transported to Regency-style England, to use those garbs to stay in that kind of cottage and to be there.
What was it like to be? It was, if we're in relation to the time era, or like the Regency era, um, it was interesting. It was nice to see how you'd go about, courting in that era, especially with the letters and the calligraphy. I liked all that stuff. That's quite fun. And while it's weird to meet the parents straight away, I think it does kind of make sense, because you're marrying into a family, so it's might be a bit too soon, but sure, you'd have to meet them anyway at some point, so you might
Hmm.
as well meet them, early on. At the I personally find the Regency area a bit stiff, if you will.
Hmm.
It's not. I like warmer cultures in terms of the world, and like saying South American cultures or Middle Eastern or Mediterranean cultures, where it's warm, it's loud, it's not as formal and stiff, if you will. And I think the Regent's area is a little bit stiff, if you know what I mean. It's quite
Hmm.
formal and complicated, and you can't just say what you mean and what you think. And the outfits can look cool to some people. Some parts of them were quite cool. The shoes were extremely uncomfortable.
I can't
They
imagine.
were really sore, and even moving in that whole outfit was quite stiff, because you're wearing tights and like these weird socks and stuff. But it was an experience, and all experiences have value. So I enjoyed that, and something I can't say I would have done or will ever do again. So there you go.
So, now that you've done this, kind of what was your takeaway from it? What are you using now from that experience? Maybe something that you learned that you take to, putting in your dating life, in your personal dating life.
Um, well, I'd say trying to find love for me personally on a reality show probably isn't very realistic. Um, Although I think maybe it was just because of the situation, it being so many guys and just one girl makes it very difficult, I think, for me, to induce a romantic, mindset. Um, I do see how, with all the things that I'm trying to do, and especially not having time, probably is my biggest obstacle within my dating life. Um, and I think I need to make a point to, because of all these other things that I'll talk about and I'll try and do, it can become, um, a bit not worrisome or concerning for a person that I'm trying to date, that I'm not focused on them, or that they're not a priority in my life. And I think within that episode, the last episode, when, Mr. Remy asks me, what I see in my life in 10 years.
Mhm.
The way I approached that question was, for me, it was a given that obviously I'm there to find love, to find someone. And it's a given that I want to have kids and a family and a partner in 10 years. Like for me, that's all the basics. So when I was answering his question, I was answering in terms of what sets me apart and what are the extra things that I want to do and what are the extra things that, you know, the person I'm with will get to experience with me. But I can see how in hindsight, it's not that obvious to everyone, that it's a given that I want to have a family and that it's a priority of mine, and maybe I need to spell it out, especially if it comes to the family of the person I'm meant to be courting, or the person I will be with, in general. So yeah,
Yeah, no, it
that's
should
one
have been a
lesson.
given. You were on a dating show.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I thought if there's anything we all have in common, like me and all the boys, is that we're all here for Nicole. Like we're all here to meet someone. So I thought I didn't have to like specifically say, yes, I want to meet someone when we're talking about a 10-year plan. But
Yeah.
I guess to be fair, it's an opinion. I mean, it's a point of view. He probably wanted me to spell it out, so
Mhm.
he's sure that I'm adamant on wanting someone in my life. But, yeah.
Yeah. Tim, I thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate it. It's really nice to get an insight on who you are, and also your experience on the show.
No worries. Thank you, Emmanuel. Appreciate the time to speak to you too.
Yeah, well, good luck on your future endeavors, and we'll probably somehow hear about how it all
Yeah.
turns out for you.
Yeah. Probably on social media or something, maybe.
Yeah. All right, man. Take
All
care.
right, Emmanuel. Cheers, bro. Thanks. See you.